Welcome to this full flight tutorial for the new Bredok A380 for MSFS. This tutorial is from a runway start with engines on, so let's go. Before the flight I plan my route in the world map. The same test route as always, runway 04 Barkway 2 Sierra off Stansted for a direct approach onto the ILS for 05 at Glasgow, using high altitude airways and cruising at 26,000. So once we actually get into the plane there is not a lot to do. Our route is already planned in. Our speed and heading are already set to manage mode. All we need to do is dial in our cruising altitude of 26,000. Again, on the FMC, not a lot to do. Check our flight plan on my flight plan page, head over to performance, and check our V-speeds before heading back to the flight plan page. And that's it, we're ready to go, so parking brake off and throttle fully forward. The Bredok doesn't really model flex or climb or any of that. So we'll rotate at our rotate speed. Once we have positive rate, the landing gear comes up. As the fly-by-wire kicks in, let go of the stick, activate the autopilot and auto throttle. As the airplane approaches the red speed tape on the left side of the PFD, release the flaps until they're at 0. During climb I'll show you a few bits, so to see further ahead on the map, just dial the ND range and increase it. I'm also going to check on the radio nav page that our ILS has been automatically tuned, which it should be, but if it isn't, you can just dial it in on the keypad here. And then press the left soft key next to frequency. On the ND ahead of us, you'll see an arrow pointing upwards. This is our top of climb where the airplane will start its cruise. When the airplane reaches that point, you'll see the altitude cruise annunciator appear, and the airplane will level off. It's now at cruise. We'll let the airplane cruise, and after a while you'll see a down arrow on the ND. This will be our top of descent. When the airplane crosses the top of descent, we'll dial in our bottom of descent altitude. For convenience, we'll say that's 2,000 feet above the runway elevation in general. The airplane should now start to descend, but if it doesn't, just tap the altitude knob and it will. During descent, the airplane may level off to obey altitude constraints, but that's perfectly normal. It will resume its descent straight afterwards. Keep an eye out for the decel marker on the navigation display. As soon as the airplane passes this, because the decel mode is buggy in this plane, you'll immediately want to click the speed mag knob and dial in a general approach speed of 130 knots. As the airplane decelerates, you'll see it pass through orange markers on the speed tape on the PFD. As it passes these markers, apply flaps, and then continue to apply flaps as it passes those markers until eventually you're at flaps full. Once you're at flaps full, you can put the landing gear down. Now as the airplane begins its final turn towards the runway, activate LS and check your destination ILS is tuned on the PFD, and if it is, press approach mode. You'll see localizer appear. The airplane will turn towards the runway. When the diamond on the right side of the PFD is in the centre, the airplane is on the glide slope, and you'll see the glide slope annunciator appear. The airplane will now start to descend towards the runway. As we get close to the runway, deactivate autopilot and auto throttle, idle the throttle, flare the nose slightly, and the airplane should touch down. Upon touchdown, use reversers and brakes as appropriate to slow yourself down. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please drop a like, feel free to subscribe, take care, and I'll see you next time.